thank you for conducting the meeting here this evening. And I'm going to stay behind my chair here, that way it's fair for everybody. My name is Sean Upshaw. When you vote on May 2nd, you'll be sending a person, not just a party, to Ottawa. What exactly is an independent conservative candidate? Well, he's one out of conviction, not out of convenience. I was born in 1961. My parents divorced when I was 3 years old. I ended up in foster homes and between parents. So a little bit of a rough start. But that being said, that began to build character in who I was because of the situation that I was born into. The reality is I had a hard time when I was up until I was about 18 years old, average teenager. And when I was 18 in 1979, some things happened in my life. I was stung by 60 yellow jackets, and I went into anaphylactic shock. And as a result, I lost consciousness, just about lost my life, and that put me on a different path and helped me realize how important life was. And so from that point on, I began to conduct my life in a different fashion. I've been married to Heather here for 26 years. I'm the father of 3 great kids, Andrew, Sarah, and David. Andrew is a recording artist named Andrew Judah. My son, David, and my daughter, Sarah, both work with me in Kelowna. We form what's known as Team Upshaw. I am a RE/MAX real estate agent. I have been since 1992. I've been innovative. I've had to be on the cutting edge. We developed for the first people in British Columbia HD video walkthrough tours, and over 11,000 people have seen our HD walkthrough video tours on our website. I'm a member of the prestigious RE/MAX Hall of Fame. Not many RE/MAX agents attain that level. I am also a member of the Platinum Club and 100% Club consistently. Where I'm going with this is that I know how to do business. It's that simple. I also founded in 1986 Praise Christian Fellowship in Richmond, British Columbia. I spent a year giving myself to the Aboriginal people up in Darwin, Australia, on the mission field, which was one of the best times of my life. In 1997, I founded what's known as the Father's House in Abbotsford, British Columbia. And finally, I moved on December 29th, 2002, to the Okanagan. It wasn't my choice to be an independent conservative candidate. I did everything exactly as I was told to by Dan Albas' campaign manager, Doug Sharp, and had every piece of paper to him exactly on time. The reality was, though, that there was an ad hoc adjustment to the rules and regulations which did not allow me to be considered as a fair candidate. The story is actually serious enough that if you check out Maclean's magazine, you'll see that it has been spoken of here. That's a national magazine. The reality is they wouldn't write the story if it didn't have legitimacy. That's why I'm an independent candidate. But that's okay, because you see, I've chosen this route because I am a person of integrity, I'm a person of honesty, and even though I was denied fair process, as well as 9 other individuals, I've been willing to stand up against all odds to run as your independent conservative candidate. My campaign will be several $1,000s. I'll be against a machine that could be up to $70,000, $80,000. The reality is, though, that I believe truth and honesty and integrity will prevail. And so tonight I look forward to asking and answering your questions. I look forward to you finding out who Sean Upshaw is. Because the path that I've had to take to get here so far has been challenging, there's no doubt about that.
60 seconds.
But you know this, that a gentleman like me who's willing to stand up for things that are right is an excellent choice for your candidate in Ottawa. The reason why is because I'm not going to allow people to do what is wrong and just get away with it. I was encouraged by other members of the Conservative Party of Canada to run. It's not an independent decision. It has come from the very members that were in that room at that process, wondering why I was shut out. So that's what an independent candidate is. A true conservative, large C conservative. I look forward to your questions tonight, and I thank you for the opportunity of being your next member of Parliament in Ottawa. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Up next is Dan Bouchard from the Green Party.
My name's Dan Bouchard, and I'm your Green Party candidate in 2011. I sincerely hope many of you have yet to make up your minds, because I'm here to convince you that the Green Party is a great home for your vote, and that I will be a great representative for you in Ottawa. In my professional life, I'm a lumber broker, and I run for the Green Party because I think Canada has some very serious challenges. I think that our reputation as a champion of democracy and human rights is fading out. We've been dubbed the colossal fossil for failing to engage the rest of the world in a meaningful response to climate change. Our youth are disengaged, many seniors and children are impoverished. The average Canadian household is saddled with debt, and raises in income are not matching inflation or the rising costs of food and other staples. We're on the fast track to destroying what's left of our middle class, and our political discourse is partisan and ineffective. And I think we could be so much better than this. I run for the Green Party because we believe in three main philosophies. We believe in smart economies, strong communities, and true democracy. Smart economies are competitive in the 21st century. Smart economies are built on green-collar jobs, jobs in forestry, jobs in knowledge and creative-based economies, jobs that are resilient in a new century when we're up against some very serious and very capable emerging markets and emerging economies. I believe that strong communities are supported by smart economies, with investment in our youth and our families and our seniors and our social programs. And a truism that applies to the Green Party philosophy is that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We could be so much more efficient and get a much greater return on investment with our social spending if we work on prevention rather than throwing money at the cure side of many of our social ills. The Green Party believes in true democracy, and you will see that in the very structure of our party. We're the definition of a grassroots organization. Our membership has an active role in creating policy, and there is no party whips in the Green Party. If I go to Ottawa, I will not be told by a small room in Ottawa how to vote on any issue. The only whipping that I will take will be from the constituents in my riding, and that is the role of an MP, to be accountable to their riding. The Green Party encourages collaboration. It encourages congratulating good ideas. If I go to Ottawa, I will be enabled to talk to any other party that has good ideas and good things to bring back to our riding. And that is not the same across the board. That is very unique to us, and that is a very unique capability for the Green Parties, and that's very important to getting things done in Ottawa. We need to be able to congratulate good ideas. We don't see enough of that. We need to be able to work together. We need to be able to give up a little something so that someone else can give up a little something. We can meet in the middle and get something done. It's called cooperation, and it works. So in my professional life, I'm a lumber broker. We're a middleman. We find ways to find homes in export markets for Canadian lumber. So small town like Merritt, mills here, you have a product that you need to find a home for. You speak a very real language, you have very real needs in those businesses. And it's my job as that lumber broker to come in and take those products, to package them up, and to go find people to buy into them in distant marketplaces. And I see that to be very much the same role of an MP. An MP needs to be able to engage with people in their communities from all across the spectrum, from social, from environmental, from business groups. They need to be able to package up those ideas, take them to Ottawa, and find people to buy into those ideas so they can bring those goods back to the riding. It's an honest, it's a two-way flow of communication, and it is an understanding that you bring to both parties, both the producers and the consumers. And I see the voters as the producers, and I see Ottawa as the consumer that has to buy into that message. So my personal skill set is attuned to that.
1 minute.
The Green Party is built for that, and I encourage you to please consider your vote. Consider that I am a businessman, I have a grassroots party that will enable us to go get something done in Ottawa, and I have some very real value that I can add to this riding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Up next is John Cater from the Liberal Party.
Good evening. I'm so glad to be here. I think this is the most marvelous facility. I want to extend thanks to this works, I think. You can hear me in the back? Not very well? Better there? Okay, that was boom.
Boom, boom, boom. I want to extend my thanks to the Nicola people for working on their traditional territories here. I want to extend my thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for putting this together, and really to this marvelous facility. When I toured this facility the other day with President Kent and some of the faculty members and students, And it is a wonderful, wonderful place, a real example of how people can come together and cooperate, as Dan Bouchard was saying, to build something that's bigger than the parts that put it together. That's really what I want to speak to tonight, is a kind of a vision for Canada that's a little larger than the kind of visions for Canada we've been dealing with for the last few years. It's necessary, I believe, that we come back to the principles that made this nation what it was. Principles of compassion for each other, principles of compromise on things that seem to be competing and in conflict, and the principles of caring deeply for the way the nation is put together. In all these cases, I think, what we start with is kind of a duty to each other and a duty to those less fortunate. From that, we can build strength, we build economic well-being, and we build the ability to be strong players in the world. I want to do that. I want to do that with the Liberal Party of Canada. I think that we have the most, in our party, the most coherent platform that addresses the needs of communities, the needs of families. Our platform does not include a lot of spending on jets, a lot of spending on jails, doesn't include corporate tax cuts, because we don't think those things really serve the needs of the nation right now. We think we need to focus on rebuilding communities, getting our families to have the strength underneath them that they need to carry on and survive in the days to come. When I've been going around the riding, and I'm really deeply at home here in Merritt, but I'm traveling to South Okanagan, I hear the same thing. I hear a concern for how we're going to have jobs, especially for young people who grow up in our towns and find limited opportunity to continue to stay there. We need to work on those small businesses, small enterprises that give people opportunities to work. I hear considerations for our elders in the healthcare system, elders in housing, all sorts of issues around that. Certainly in the South Okanagan, where the population is predominantly older, there are real issues here. We need to understand better how our healthcare system can be both expanded to include new needs and monitored properly and funded properly so those new needs are taken care of. And I hear overriding. In this riding in particular, I hear a concern about the environment. We all know, we can all see dead ponderosa pine trees. We all know that the mill yards down here are stacked with timber that's dead, lodgepole pine trees. We know that our streams are getting warmer. The Nicola Valley Water Conservation Roundtable and others in the area are doing fabulous work to try to come to terms with what we know are significant changes in our environment. I think that here in this area we can actually take a national lead in this because we live here in the environment, not off it, and we know how important this stuff is. So I think that one of the things we can do here is pull these things together, pull all of those different things, healthcare, education, jobs for young people, small business, and make a coherent country again, bring ourselves together again. I believe our current government is acting in the opposite direction. They're out acting on the politics of division, picking special interest groups, aligning people one against the other, setting old people against students, setting new kinds of businesses against building for the environment. This is not the way Canadians have done work for the last 150 years. This country is a very, very, very difficult country to work in, and we've solved some very difficult problems, coast to coast to coast. We've managed to make one of the great nations in the earth because of our skills in working together and our skills in compromise. When we think of what has been able to be done with even with minority governments, think of Lester Pearson in the 60s. Think of Medicare. Think of the Canada Pension Plan. Some of those ideas came from the CCF, from Tommy Douglas and his friends, and were brought to work in a parliament where people talk to each other and work together. That's the kind of spirit we have to get back to. We've got to get back to a sense that we are here for each other, not here against each other. And it's critical at this time. This, I think, is the most important election in 40 years.
1 minute.
To get back to the spirit. About 40 years ago, I guess it was longer than that, 43 years ago, I rode down from Hathaway Cow Camp up on Finnis Mountain, down to Douglas Lake to vote for Len Marchand. Some of you remember Len? You remember the vision that we had at that time of building a bigger country. That was what we all collectively had. It was incredibly exciting. And we gathered together then, coast to coast to coast, and we did that for years. And I think in the last few years we've lost sight of that. We've lost sight of the values that drive us, the values that keep us together, the values that make this country great. I want to bring those together again. I think the Liberal Party is the right party to do that. I think I'm the right representative to go to Ottawa and lead, not just represent, but also lead as we continue to build a government that works for the people. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Next up is David Finnis from the New Democratic Party.
Well, good evening. I don't know. Maybe I should use yours. I don't think yours was as bad. Is this one working? Okay, because when Sean was speaking, I was getting the echo back, and it's really awkward. So, anyway, my name is David Finnis, and I'm really proud to represent the New Democratic Party of Canada. I've lived in this riding for over 20 years, My wife, Kathy Miller, who's here with me tonight, is a community nurse who works for Interior Health with seniors' mental health. We have 5 grown children, 3 of them all living at the coast. 3 of them are at university. I myself am a graduate of the University of Victoria, and I must say it's wonderful to be in this incredibly beautiful academic facility. It's a credit to your community. I'm a very active member of my community. I've been involved in all sorts of organizations and am on them in Summerland. I've also been elected 3 times to municipal council in Summerland, so I've served 9 years in that position. And I find that those 9 years on council have been a real asset to me. I've learned to work well with others. You know, we span the political spectrum. There were 6 of us and a mayor. And, you know, I had people on my conservative right, and we would disagree at times, but we would also agree on other issues. And I think that's one of the things that I would take to Ottawa, one of the benefits